I am Professor Nasreen, Department of Education, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. The course on which we are going to discuss with you is entitled as Foundation of Curriculum Planning. In this course, you will enjoy what is curriculum, what is historical background of curriculum development, what are the philosophical basis of curriculum development, and what new trends have been in fashion for curriculum development. So, let us start with the first unit, that is definition and concept of curriculum. In this lesson, we will discuss about the various definitions given by curriculum planners and curriculum workers, and what they have given much more emphasis, or which kind of curriculum, which kind of definition they have proposed that considered under the head of definition of curriculum, that we will try to understand. So, let me start first. The term curriculum has been derived from a Latin word, that is curre, which means runway. Runway is a kind of path that one start at a point and ends to the same point, that is a kind of a circle. So, as you have been seen in the athletics ground, that the player starts to run from a point, passing through all the corners, he comes to end. Similar case is the curriculum. The teacher starts to the course with the objectives, and passing through different phases, he ends to a point that is known as evaluation. So, it is a circle. It is a circle that gives a lot of learnings, that gives a lot of phases to a teacher, and every phase has its unique characteristics. So, as we are going to discuss the definition, let me start the first definition, that is by the Carter V. Good. According to Carter V. Good, a general overall plan of the content or specific materials of instruction that the school should offer to the student by way of qualifying him for graduation or certification for entrance into a professional or a vocational field. What does it mean? That the curriculum is a kind of specific material or a kind of specific instructions that we have provided to the students, and passing through this instruction, they have to appear in an examination, and when they will declare qualified, entered into the next class. So, this is the simple way of explaining the curriculum, that curriculum is only to present the material, and he has to study this material, and after passing through these all the material, he will appear in an examination. If he qualify the examination, it means he is able or eligible to enter into the next one. So, this definition is only concerned with the academic. Academic means that only the content of the particular subject is being studied by the students. So, only one aspect is taken here. Let us see the another definition. That is why, according to Crow and Crow in 1962, just old definition, but having a meaningful meaning of the curriculum. That is, in the book of Introduction to Education, defines the term as follows: curriculum includes all the learner's experience in or outside school that are included in a program which has been devised to help him develop mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually and morally. So, see this definition. This definition says that whatever the experiences learner received inside the classroom or outside the classroom. So the definition is concerned with beyond the classroom also. That is outside the four walls of the classroom also. So this covers more aspects of personality development of the learner. Say for example, it says that it is a kind of learner experiences that he receives inside the classroom or outside of the classroom in order to develop holistic personality development. That is, it covers mentally means that is cognitive abilities. Whenever the teacher starts to give the instruction in the classroom, the brain become active. So the cognitive development, second is the physically, that is a kind of muscular development, emotionally, that is concerned with the feelings, spiritually, that is concerned with the thoughtfulness, and morally means to be honest, to be punctual and pay respect to the others. So what kind of values a student receives from the curriculum, it also comes under the head of curriculum. So this definition covers most of the aspects of the curriculum, and it says that the holistic development is possible only through the curriculum. So a true curriculum is that helps to develop the learner's personality. See the next one. Michael Appel in 2014. Appel, a critical theorist in education, highlighted that the curriculum is not neutral and is shaped by social and political factors. He stated that the curriculum represents and expresses particular views about what knowledge is of most worth and whose knowledge that is. So, what does it say? It says that curriculum is influenced by the social and political factors. Social factors means the factors that are working in the society. So, there is a kind of relationship between school and society. It reflects. And another aspect, political factors, the what kind of government is there, what kind of philosophy of that is following. So, these social and political factors are concerned with the curriculum. And it also says that knowledge that expresses particular views about what knowledge is of most worth. What is the significance of the knowledge that a student is receiving? If it is worth it and it is meaningful, so it also considered the aspect that the meaningful knowledge also comes under the head of curriculum. So this definition, as far as concerned with the society and the political factors, is quite comprehensive, but most of the time it is not concerned with the personality development of the learner or other kind of factors. So, this covers the knowledge aspect. We can say that the cognitive aspect and the kind of application, if the social factors are being running through the curriculum in a proper way. So, somewhere we can say that it concerned with the cognitive abilities and as well as the application aspect also. The next one is Gloria Ladson Billings in 2017. A key figure in culturally responsive pedagogy, Ladson Billings emphasized curriculum as a reflection of cultural inclusion. She defined it as an educational framework that seeks to affirm diverse students' cultural backgrounds while developing academic proficiency. So, this definition is concerned with the cultural inclusion. The cultural inclusion means the students in the classroom comes from various cultural backgrounds and they have different socio-economic status, they have different languages, they have different culture, they also carry his culture from the states to that they belongs to. So, these social inclusion is also come under the head of curriculum. This definition says that students' cultural background is also very important and the curriculum is that emphasized or that reflects cultural inclusion. So, no doubt this definition is comprehensive, that considered the cultural factor and the cultural background of the learners. So, meaningful definition it is, but it only covers the one aspect, that is the inclusion of the culture that a student brings from different states. Not saying about the personality development, not saying about the other application aspects, but considered the student's background only. William Pinner in 2019, a leading curriculum theorist, described curriculum as a complicated conversation emphasizing the interaction between student, teacher and subject matter in a way that recognizes the historical and cultural context involved in teaching and learning. This is also a very meaningful definition in the sense that it emphasizes that there are three components in the classroom: teacher, student and the subject matter. Teacher delivers the lecture, students receive the lecture and they interact on the this content, and with the discussion of this content they try to learn something. So, this is only concerned to the academic subject. Here the curriculum worker is not telling about the application of the curriculum, not telling about the other aspects of the curriculum, but recognizes the historical and cultural context involved in teaching and learning. So, the teaching and learning process is going on in the classroom in context of historical and cultural context. That is what had been done in the past and what kind of cultural backgrounds the students have. These all together combined and influencing the learning style or the learning habits of the students, and as well as there is a kind of interaction between these three components: teacher, subject matter and this student. So, teacher is the leader of the classroom delivering the lecture, student receiving the lecture, and lecture is based on the content, that is the subject matter that is concerned with the syllabus or which is concerned with a certain kind of textbook, whatever the content is there. So, these interaction gives certain kind of learning experiences to the students, and after receiving this he tries to understand, he tries to manage the development of the personality, and after that this all comes under the head of curriculum. The next one, in education it is generally identified with a course of studies or list of subjects prescribed for a course. So, when we define the curriculum, three concepts are also there that we must understand. The one that we have described through the definition is curriculum, another is list of subjects, and the third concept is syllabus. So, these three terms also differs from each other. How they differ? Say for example, when we are saying that curriculum, so curriculum is a broader term. You have also observed here in the different definitions that the curriculum framers are saying the different aspects regarding the curriculum. So, no definition is complete in its full meaning of the curriculum, but everywhere, somewhere they are saying about the academic development of the students, somewhere they are saying that there is a kind of interaction between the teacher, student and subject matter, and these all happened in context of culture and the socio-economic background and other kind of culture and social inclusion that exist in the society. So, curriculum is a broader term, it is a comprehensive term that includes interaction of the teacher and student, as well as the experiences that a student receive in the classroom and beyond the classroom also. But list of subject means it is a simple a list that having the points, that these are the points that a student has to go through it, and the teacher will explain in the classroom. So, this is the list of subject, and these subjects are likely to be considered under the head of curriculum. So, this term is narrow term. Narrow terms that covers the part of curriculum, but it is not curriculum in its full sense. What is syllabus is a particular paper that you are going to study in the classroom, what points or what content it covers under this paper, that is syllabus. Say for example, if I entered in the classroom and I asked that I will teach you this foundation of curriculum planning, please give the syllabus. So, you will give a paper where the points are written in the form of topics, and I will go through these all topics, that is my syllabus. And after end of the syllabus, I will take a summative evaluation and I will declare that what you have learnt passing through these all teaching. This kind of three terms that I have told here: curriculum, list of subjects and syllabus. These three terms are quite different. Curriculum is comprehensive term, list of subjects only consider the subjects that a student has to study, and syllabus means all the topics that is likely to be covered by the teacher in a particular paper. Okay. In fact, a list of subjects forms only a part of the curriculum and it does not constitute the whole of it. As I told you, a curriculum is the total situation or all situations selected and organized by the institution and made available to the teacher to operate and to translate the ultimate aim of education into reality. So, in education, curriculum is broadly defined as the totality of student experiences that occur in the educational process. The term often refers specifically to a planned sequence of instruction or to a view of the student's experiences in terms of the educator's or school's instructional goals. So, these all concerned with the curriculum. A curriculum may incorporate the planned interaction of people with instructional content, material, resources and processes for evaluating the attainment of educational objectives. Similar statement is given here that the curriculum incorporate planned interaction of student and teacher, that is a kind of lesson plan that is to be imparted or that is to be delivered to the students in the form of lecture or in the form of activity based lecture with instructional content, materials, resources and processes for evaluating the attainment of educational objectives. Educational objective is the first in the process of curriculum development. So, we will take it later on, but you understand the concept of curriculum in that sense that teacher, student, instructional material, resources, that is the kind of teaching aids, a kind of your projector or your classroom environment, that is all come under the head of resources. The aids that are provided by the school or by the college to the teacher to manage the classroom. So, resources are also come under the area of curriculum because resources are the assisting aids for a teacher. If these aids are good, if these aids are working and if these aids are providing proper assistance to a teacher, definitely the teacher will be able to carry on the lesson in an effective manner. So, finally, the objective of any curriculum is to achieve the educational objectives. The objectives, the goals, the aim that are prepared at the start of the course. So, we try to achieve these goals, these objectives, passing through all kind of learnings. Curriculum may be defined as the totality of all the learning and knowledge to which students are exposed for the achievement of objectives of education during their stay in an educational institution, in the classroom, in the laboratory, in the library, on the farm, in the factory, workshop and on the playground. Any place where the learner is active and making a certain kind of activity. If he is in the library looking for the content and going through the books, it is also a kind of learning experience that comes under the head of curriculum, but the resources are library and books. So, resources are also very important to make the learning experiences enriched. So, curriculum is basics to the attainment of knowledge and wisdom. Finally, what is curriculum? The curriculum is attainment of knowledge and wisdom that enriched our cognitive abilities, that helps to develop our physical development, that helps to develop spiritually, that is thoughtfulness, emotionally, that is the feelings of a learner, and morally, that it makes a student valuable asset of the institution by putting the values that to be honest, pay respect to the elders and do your work on time, and other kind of things that is very essential for the holistic development of the student, and kind of experiences that makes a learner perfect or the master learner. So, this is the definition of curriculum. Now, today we will teach about the general objectives of curriculum. Curriculum, as I told you, it is a kind of a circle. It starts from the objectives, content, learning experiences, instructional strategies, and then the evaluation. So, we start from the objectives. Objectives are the ultimate reality that we want to achieve passing through the curriculum processes. Okay. So, these objectives are concerned with the task, with the activities, with all kind of planned activities that we have to carry on to achieve the objectives. So, objectives are the last foremost priority and it is the first step of the curriculum planning, but whatever we are doing in the classroom, whatever we are doing in the outside the classroom, the ultimate aim of our these all activities is to achieve the educational objectives. So, educational objectives are concerned with our three domains, that is cognitive, affective and psychomotor domain. Cognitive domain is concerned with the cognitive abilities, understanding and a kind of application also, that whatever a learner has received in the classroom, now he is able to apply to the outer world. And the next that is related to affective domain is feelings, interest and a kind of enthusiasm that we want to achieve through our teaching and that we want to develop in our students, that at least they have a certain kind of desire to achieve more from the environment. So, that is concerned with the affective domain. Psychomotor domain is concerned with the skills, that is what he writes on the paper, what he do with the help of the hand skills and what he is able to do something new with own skills. So this psychomotor domain, cognitive domain and this affective domain, these three domains are when perfectly mastered or perfectly trained, a learner can be said as a master learner. So what I want to say, that the cognitive skills, when a student receives the information from the teacher, it goes to the heart where there is a certain kind of interest developed and there is a certain kind of feelings with the students, and these all comes in the form of hands. He is able to interest, he is able to develop the sketches on the paper, that is drawing skills. He is able to perform an experiment, that is experimental skill. He is able to solve the sums, that is mathematical skills. So whatever the subject is being taught in the classroom, a teacher is able to develop the skills in the students, then when can observe the behavior. So the observed behavior is changed, certainly we are achieving our goals of the curriculum. And these goals, sometime I am saying goals, aims, objectives, there is three terms. Goals is comprehensive term and it is a vague term, but when we split these into a specific terms, it comes under the head of aims. And when we further divide the aims into very specific units and a very specific behavioral terms, these are the objectives. So goals, aim, objectives, these three are also concerned with each other, no doubt, but this is a comprehensive term, goals and aims, and the objectives are very specific. Say for example, if I am saying that after passing through this teaching, the student will be able to learn or to understand about the concept of Archimedes principle. It means I have mentioned here what he will learn after passing through the teaching. So it is a specific. But in case of goals and aim, we are not framing it in the form of specific terms, but we are only assuming that after passing through the lesson, the student will be able to learn this kind of learning. So this is the main difference between these three terms. So general objectives of curriculum is concerned. The first is school curriculum should aim at enabling the learners to acquire knowledge. To acquire knowledge, that is the content that a teacher delivers in the classroom, develop understanding, that the thinking process is going on in the brain and there is a certain kind of understanding, and inculcate skills, positive attitudes, values and habits conducive to the all-round development of their personality. So this objective is concerned with the cognitive domain, because it is saying to acquire the knowledge, develop understanding, inculcate skills and developing positive attitude, values and habits conducive to the all-round development of the personality, that is holistic development of the students. So the first objective of curriculum is to provide knowledge and to develop understanding related to this particular knowledge. Also the values, that is essential for the life skills in the terms of life skills, and for keeping these all for the longer time, that is good habits and a kind of positive attitude towards the environment, etc. The another objective of curriculum is learners are a nation's assets and they are to be empowered through education to increase their scope and capability to do and to be. That is the teaching that is going on in the classroom that makes the students powerful. You know, the education is the powerful tool for the progress of the nation. Similarly, to make the students empowered with the knowledge, it is very essential that they must be giving a good kind of knowledge. A quality teaching is also essential, and increase their scope and capability to do and to be. So, if their capabilities, their abilities, these all are going to be strengthened with the help of the education, then the objective of the curriculum is fulfilled. Simultaneously, school curriculum has the onus of minimizing and, if possible, eradicating the country's liabilities like ignorance, poverty and moral weaknesses. So, these terms are also concerned with the education, because I am saying that education is a powerful tool. So, when we are saying it as a powerful tool, it means this kind of awareness that is concerned with the education is helpful to eradicate poverty, ignorance and moral weaknesses that we usually observe in the society. So, the curriculum is that powerful tool that helps a teacher, that helps a student to develop such kind of abilities that ultimately these abilities are helpful to reduce the ignorance, poverty and weaknesses, moral weaknesses. Paradigm shifts are therefore necessary to support a curriculum that values the interaction of process and content, and besides the development of intrinsic values and emotional intelligence of learners are also crucial. So, these kind of emotional intelligence of learners and development of values and support a curriculum that is essential for the interaction of process and content, these all are concerned with the general objectives of curriculum. So, today what we have learnt through this lesson, I would like to conclude that we have learned what is concept of curriculum, what is the difference between curriculum, list of subjects and syllabus, and what is essential for a curriculum to make it more meaningful, and what kind of objectives we usually covers under the head of curriculum. So, I do hope you have enjoyed this learning. Thank you.